hours of my every waking moment and thought. But at least I don't have to type, where's my nearest coffee shop to a certain...
It is eerie being here where so many died. These ruins are like an open wound for the city.
There's too much security patrolling broken abandoned building. Doesn't seem right.
Good point, Bagley. Tell me what I'm looking for.
Any kind of device or component that could still be emitting the signal. It seems to be coming from within the rubble.
Stand down!
This is London Calling. You're listening to me, Tash, on Buccaneer, your source for what they don't want you to know. This time we're turning our focus back on the media to look at my former employer, the GBB. As we know, the broadcaster has been through a lot of changes since the Hassani government gave in to pressure from his corporate backers and privatised the corporation. Today, the GBB is a shadow of its former self. It's become a tool used by the government to circulate fake news and misinformation. So how did we get here? Where did it all go wrong? How can we tell when our national media has become state propaganda? Our experts speak on conditions of anonymity for their own safety. Here's disinformation and media expert Charles, who's seen free broadcasters built up by journalists and torn down by demagogues all over the world.
So before the media fragmented, there was this voice of authority that was trusted and worthy of trust. Then what we ended up with is a really commercial model where whether you're talking about an app on a smart device or whether you're talking about a broadcaster, the most important thing was to keep you in that environment for the longest amount of time possible, and because that meant
Welcome back to The Upload. Today we're talking about cryptocurrency. Crypto now seems like it's been around forever, but it's really quite a new invention. Were you an early adopter?
I was one of the first.
I'm Claire Waters, and we've been discussing the hacktivist, now alleged terrorist group, DedSec, on this week's Buccaneer Radio. I have Colin calling in. Colin, what's your take?
Now, I've been saying from the start we should have rounded up DedSec and thrown them in jail. Now, I'll say they should all be lined up and shot.
You don't find it awfully convenient that they've been fingered as the attackers, but we've seen no proof?
Look at Tone! Look at our city! What more proof do you need?
Well, Colin, I'd say you have to look at their history of non-violent action. Albion's put more civilians in the hospital in the past few months than DedSec ever has. I smell a scapegoat. Now I have Emily calling in. Emily, what's your take?
You're absolutely right.
What the fuck?
This is it. The signal is coming from this Spiderbot fragment. No indication yet who it belongs to.
It's taken a lot of damage. Any idea what it is doing here?
Difficult to say, but with an AR reconstruction, we may be able to see what happened to it and if it relates to the attack. Access data relays in the vicinity, and I can compile enough data to build the AR reconstruction. Perfect. 2 more data relays to go.
Stand down! Back up you!
One more data relay and I'll have it.
Over there. Hold it! You can't win!
That should do it. Now, I'll just take the audio from this stream and the video from these 36 and... Got it. Go back to where you found that spider bot and I'll show you the AR reconstruction from the night of the explosion.
Right, got it.
CTOS-AR. Data reconstruction in progress.
You brought the payload? Fuck, think we'd go back for you? Don't trust the Kelly dog.
Kelly dog. This clearly implicates Clan Kelly in the bombings.
This is a handoff or I'm a fucking pumpkin. Kelly's just a supplier.
So who is this woman? Not part of Clan Kelly. I think she may be in Zero Day.
Well, don't just stand there. Keep looking.
Bagley, see if you can determine who was controlling the spider bot.
I've now fully decrypted the signal the spider bot is broadcasting, and while I cannot identify a specific user, it is a call code used by the Metropolitan Police Service.
Hold on, the police watched this happen?
The reconstruction continues behind that rubble.
So what? You want me to quantum tunnel through it?
Quantum tunnel technology is at least 10 years away, but spider bots and drones are here today. You could try one of those if you don't feel like waiting.
Good idea. Very good.
Why don't you aim those human eyeballs of yours at the van's cargo?
Right, got it.
RDX nitrogen, and the exact same detonator system like the bombs that were planted at Parliament.
That settles it. It was 0 day.
There, hurry. Got all the deliveries.
So you were hired to supply all the targets?
That's it. We're all on need to know.
Multiple teams were used, of course. 0 day is at least tactically sound.
That's certainly one way to pull off a massive coordinated attack while remaining anonymous. 0 day needed manpower and resources, but they needed them at an arm's length. And it doesn't take the world's greatest AI detective to see that both Clan Kelly and Albion benefited in the aftermath. Unfortunately, this is the most we can get out of the AR reconstruction, but if we could find the mystery officer who was spying through the Spider-Bot, maybe they could tell us more. Tracing the Spider-Bot serial number, it was assigned to New Scotland Yard 3 years ago. Perhaps more information about its user or its assignment will be available at the station.
If the police knew who the actual bombers were months ago, why wouldn't they release that information?
The only way to know for sure is to investigate New Scotland Yard.
I remember back in the day, Alice, when our Prime Ministers were either incompetent or crooked, but not both at once. But actually, no, I can't remember them being both at once. But incompetent, crooked, and not even in the country. That is one impressive triple whammy. I've had Lyons longer than his longest spell on British soil in this last year. It's this halfway house I can't stand. Either come back and do your job, or leave the planet entirely. I'm pretty sure there must be a spare space station knocking around where you can go and entertain himself for the rest of the time. Can we crowdfund it? Tell you what, let's make a cryptocurrency out of something and crowdfund it that way. What have you got spare? Jelly beans, are they still legal?
He's a ways off. I'm starting to think he doesn't like the country.
That is all from the bug today.
Looks like Albion has taken over this station.
And the entire police service. But don't worry, if you're not pleased with your privatised goon squad, just take your business across the street.
I think the people will soon long for the days when the police were the law.
Not to worry, the only difference now is the uniform, assault weapons, and the fact they're motivated by profit over public service. Now, any record or information on the Spider-Bot will be further in.
Live alarm. Location sent. Need a 10-13.
Can you confirm this is the same Spider-Bot, Bagley?
According to the serial numbers, this matches the piece of Spider-Bot from the Tone bombing site.
Any way to find the last user?
Navigate the Spider-Bot from out of that room. I'll need a direct connection in order to learn more from our bisected friend.
I'm on it.
opening right there looks like a good exit point. That's a part of the remote detonator system from Parliament. If the Met, or Albion rather, actually analysed it, they would see it wasn't DedSec's handiwork at all. Right, get comfy. This Spiderbot might be broken and missing some of its legs, but it can still jump and fit through vents. That's a good way to get through the station undetected. That's Dalton's mask. It must have been recovered from Parliament. It might be the only thing left of him now. Buggery fuck, would you look at all this junk? You'll have to jump your way across to get to the next vent opening.
They couldn't be confident in their jobs. Suddenly some corporation could clean up our streets better than the same police force would have who knows how long. When crime fighting is treated like a business, crime will never go away. Now you go to business, right? It don't help Albion and our best interests up our program.
If the police could handle their job, Albion wouldn't be necessary. But they can't. Home bombing is a perfect example. Bunch of lazy, overpaid cops are asleep at the wheel. Well, they're not at the wheel anymore, are they?
You're almost there. Make your way through this last vent path.
Got it.
Scanning Spiderbot and accessing its internal drives. While I'm analysing this data, you should make yourself scarce. Unless you'd like to explain to your new, heavily armed, privatised police force why you've broken into the station.
Sure.
The Spiderbot fragment you found has a satellite-based GPS module that regularly pushed its location to a specific ground station.
There's only one way to find out what's going on. Let's go.
Pushing you the ground station's coordinates.
We've got to find what tripped the detector. Drone, begin a search.
Yourself, wouldn't it be nice if Nigel had puppies?
That contract has been extended so many times. It's like the neck of a politician that's criticised the government.
I'm not sure entirely how those contract extension negotiations went. Probably like a footballer. In the old days, I assume Albion's agent was leaking stories to the press about how our favourite private militia was being tapped up by Barcelona. The government panics and thinks, well, we better get them signed up before it's too late. But still, violent crime, a record low, although I imagine that probably depends exactly how you count it. If you include violent crime committed by the state, either themselves or via Albion, their chosen violent crime contractors, this is a very valuable bargain service of beating people up. Well, it's probably not quite as low as the figures suggest.
I don't know,
The GPS history of the Spiderbot we recovered regularly pinged these coordinates. Our mystery witness to the real bombers must have come to this lovely, damp location several times.
The perfect place to keep a low profile.
Or to discreetly dump a body into the Thames.
Find me a way in, Begley.
I'm detecting a surveillance network guarding a space under this bridge. If you can patch into it, perhaps you can take a look inside.
Well, what is the set rate? Is it 99.95 crypto target? It's a very reasonable indeed. I imagine they don't last too much anyway.
Someone's messing with the doors.
I'd say someone's been doing some off-duty policing from this bunker.
Well, if Albion was stopping all over your workplace, you'd find a different place to store your lunch too. And it seems our mystery officer was dedicated.
Very. They must have followed some thread that led them to the tone.
The computer's dusty enough to kill an asthmatic, but there may still be something useful on it.
This is Inspector Caitlin Lau. Well, former inspector now. Since Albion's coup, the Met is no more. The police brass had already buried the evidence anyway. Everything implicating Albion and Clan Kelly in the bombings. But I know Mary Kelly's band of twats were involved, and they're involved in other crimes we can look into. Me and a few good mates are willing to go off book, going after Mary Kelly again. I'll never fucking learn, will I? Inspector Caitlin Lau, video log. Clan Kelly and Albion are teamed up on some deal.
I don't have all the details, but it looks to be human trafficking. The European Processing Center is the Albion angle. Since the bombings, they can grab anyone off the street. Call them illegal immigrants, potential DedSec insurgents, whatever. Though we know who the real danger is. So, Clan Kelly gets hold of these people, these immigrants, deportees, victims, really, and they're taking them somewhere. But where and why? It all comes back to the boss lady herself. I knew she was into something, but she wriggled off the hook. There's only one way I can do this. 24/7 surveillance on Mary Kelly. If I'm caught, well, this will be my last entry. But I have to see what she's hiding.
So, our mystery officer was Inspector Caitlin Lau. It sounds like Mary Kelly was her white whale, and her investigation led her to the bombings.
So we may be looking at Albion and Clan Kelly working together. This is bad news.
It seems like Zero Days Web covers all of the unsavory bits of London. Tug on a thread, and it leads back to them. Clan Kelly and Albion included.
A lot of people go missing every day. This is not good at all. We have to fix this.
Inspector Lau mentioned Albion is running their part of the operation out of the EPC. Detectives like us call that a lead.
Control, I can't see the suspect. Please advise.
Suspect is still here.
This Albion Clan Kelly business leaves a bad taste in my mouth. And if Caitlin Lau's right, then this little nugget jumps to the front of the queue. We have reason to believe a former DedSec operative may still be alive, but missing inside the EPC.
Angel Lopez, not London-born, but I won't hold that against him, unlike some others.
Looks like Angel got caught up in the immigration roundup, which, ironically, may be the only reason he escaped Zero Days DedSec purge.
Anti-immigrant sentiment has grown in London since the bombings. Albion fuels it. It allows them to send anyone they want to their brutal refugee camp.
We need to find Angel before they discover he's DedSec. This is kind of personal team. But finding his trail might just shed some light on the Albion Clan Kelly connection.
Shit! Well, the good news is he's in the country. No one's taking deportees from the UK. The bad news is he's probably in limbo at the EPC.
I've sent the details to your device and advised our contact at the EPC. They can get you inside.